I got invited to a networking event. The theme is Wizarding World. Harry Potter themed, whatever. And I'm bringing my husband with me because I have a +1, and I was trying to figure out if we should dress up as characters or if we should just take inspiration from the Wizarding World, and I felt inspired for my husband's outfit first, which is going to be kind of like Gilderoy Lockhart themed, but it's kind of like meshing two of his vibes together. So we're going to do like the yellow gold vest thing of his, and like the plumy kind of neckerchief tie thing that he wears when he's teaching. But then we're also going to do like the cape and the glove from when he's dueling. And so it's going to be just kind of like a mashup, mix up, and it's just going to look like he's just going to be a wizard, essentially. I got this fabric from, oh, I forgot that I got this. Sick. Okay, I got this fabric that I'm going to use for the outside of his cape, but it's just lined in brown, and I wanted to line it in gold. And so I found this in their, it's like their last call section. And then I also got this, which you can tell someone just like printed at the shop because it's literally Abraham Lincoln. Literally Abraham Lincoln on here. I don't know who printed that. Anyway, but it will make a really good just gold lining for the inside of the cape. No one's gonna look that hard, and if they do, they'll see Abe. So, not a big deal. And then I have these tassels that I'm going to put on the edge of the cape so that you can like tie it right here and have like a gold tassel end. I don't know how I'm gonna cap them. I probably need to find like a gold cap or something. I don't feel inspired about my outfit yet, and I've been to like 8 different thrift stores. I've been to 2 different fabric stores, and I can't find anything that's like making me feel inspired yet. So I'm hoping that by making his, I will get it out of my system, get it done with, and then I can maybe be inspired by mine. But often what happens is I don't feel inspired about my project until it's like 12 hours before, and then I end up doing all of it in 12 hours. We're not going to do that though. So what I want to do is I want to make, his cape is going to be kind of short. It's going to be like calf length. It's not going to hit the ground because I want it to be able to drape off the back of his shoulders. Pretty drapey, kind of like how Lockharts does. So yeah, it's not gonna be floor length. It's gonna be probably knee length or calf length, but pretty wide, and it would just drape. And then hood. So no shoulder cuts or anything like that. So it's gonna be a pretty basic pattern, but we're gonna create the pattern today. So let's do it out of the lining first. About 46 inches from neck down. It's difficult to go for wizard and not hit like period clothing or pirate. It's like such a fine line, and I don't know if we're striking it. Scratch that. No hood, big collar instead. We're gonna do a 27-inch like neckline on it, so that way it meets here if we want it to, but I'm not gonna do any closures, so it's not going to actually, but we're just gonna drape it from like this shoulder across the back. So I want it to be a pretty good distance. And then volume out from there. Let me get a piece of paper. I'm doing 27 inches. And I want this length to be about 46, I think is what I decided. Yeah, 46, because then I can always shorten it. 46 is like the longest I'd possibly want it to be, but I want it to look good slung across the back and not high and tight, so we might need to shorten it, but we'll figure that out. But also my husband's taller than me, so we'll figure that out as we go. Inches down, so maybe we only need to do 2 panels. We will see though. Let's try this. We might be able to make it out of 1 panel. That'd be crazy. Let's try. Fold it to there's a stupid white strip in the middle of it where the pattern repeats. So I don't know who initially had this fabric design, but I'd be pissed about that. I would not want there to be a stupid white line through it. Okay, rotate here. Yep. Okay. And then that way Abraham is sideways, And then Abe Lincoln isn't so obvious there. Let's make sure though, because I think this fabric is a different width, and that would suck if I got really excited about doing it in one panel and then I had to do it in two on this. I guess it wouldn't matter that much, but I just want to know. Yeah, it is a little bit narrower, but not by a lot. Let's think here. It also doesn't give us any like width in the back, or any volume in the back. I guess we could go down. Okay, let's try it. We need at least 46. I'm gonna go from the selvage. I'm not gonna be cutting into that, so that's gonna be my line. Wow, so much fabric, it's so nice. 46, boom. And then we wanted 27 for the neckline. So in half, that's 13 and a half. And we need to figure out the angle where we can do this and still get 46. I could still get 46 here. I could also just patch the corners, because the only reason I'm limited by the width here, I'm just trying to make sure that I can do as much volume as I want in one half. And I can just patch this one corner, boom, boom, boom. And then that one has a continuous piece. It doesn't have the white stripe in it, and so I can fold that over further and still do it in one piece. And that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully that made sense to anyone watching. So I'm not even gonna bother about that, and I'm gonna do whatever neckline I want. 13 and a half. I'm gonna do 14 so I have seam allowance, duh. It's like she's never done this before. Let's go in and perfect that. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect, but make it better. The only problem with that is that that is now gonna make it, okay, it's gonna be a big piece that I have to cut out and piece on, but that's okay with me, because it's gonna be a very voluminous cape then. It's basically a full circle skirt pattern. Let's try it. Oh, I've done a bad thing. I've gone into the selvage. It's okay, it'll all get taken off with. I'm gonna put a weight right here. Maybe a couple. And by weight, I mean pin cushion. Okay, I'm just gonna cut this, and then I'm gonna pull the fabric on and cut the other half of it. And the beautiful thing is we have like 4 inches to spare here, which means it's gonna work on our leather fabric as well. So I'm gonna need to cut this piece out and splice that in, because we didn't have the coverage we needed for that. And then this, I'm just gonna close up in a seam. So it's gonna look exactly the same as this other side, because there's gonna be a seam there too. The lining was only $3 a yard, which is incredible. But the kind of like faux leather stuff was like $15 a yard, which not ideal, but the cape in total will be like $50 to make with the cording as well. Oh, it's pretty sick. And I also think it's gonna be perfect for like having around the body, because he kind of wears it like this. It might be a little bit long. Maybe I like it though. I don't know. I'll show you. When it's on, perfect length, it's great. And then when I put it around like shoulder to shoulder, it almost sweeps the floor. But like I said, he's a little bit taller than me. And some of that will go away when we hem the end of it. And so I think I'm gonna leave it for now, and maybe I'll even just leave the bottom unfinished for now. I like it, and I'm gonna move forward with I'm gonna trim this up a little bit just because I think I got maybe a little bit sidetracked when I put that panel in. I got like a little bit lopsided perhaps. So I'm just gonna trim this up and then I'm gonna use it to pattern my outside layer. I think I'm gonna clean up the neckline and then I'm gonna flip it because I think there's more imperfections you can see from the other side. Actually, I don't wanna make the neckline any smaller, so I'm gonna, or any bigger. So I'm gonna do that and then clean up. I think on this side you'll see more, just this guy. Let's move this for a second, lay out our leather fabric and do the same thing there. Okay, let's cut. The collar that I want to do, I'm just going to do the same width here. I'm just going to make essentially the same piece, but only like 4 to 5 inches long. It'll lay at the right volume, maybe is the word I'm looking for. Maybe I need 2 layers of the black. Dang it, I need 2 layers of the leather. I don't know if I have that. I don't need this anymore. We will make it work. Okay, first things first, right sides together on the collar, on the outside of the collar. And we'll do the neckline edge when we add these to it. I also am liking the width of this. It's gonna become a little bit shorter when we, but I'm gonna try to make my seam allowance pretty small so it doesn't take that much off. I decided I want to put the trim along the edge of the hood as well. Okay, that was so much more work than I thought it was gonna be, but it was worth it because I unpicked it 3 times. 2 times to get it to this though. I think that's well worth it. It makes such a difference. It's so cool looking. And now I want more of this cording, but I don't know if they have more of it. It was $1 per yard. I got 1.5 yards. And it only had probably 1.5 yards left on the spool, but I might need to go get the other. Oh, that is so cool. Oh yeah. That was worth it. I think I need to go see if they have more of that before I continue, because I might want to do the trim along the edge of the cape too. That would take a lot, but I could do another trim. They didn't have it done though. Or maybe an embellishment or something. I don't know. I'm probably gonna go do that. I went back to the fabric store and I got more trim, the same trim that I put around the lapel. We got more of it, which is great. They only had like 2.5 more yards though. So we're not gonna do the trim around the whole circumference of the cape. I might go find a different one to do it, but this is at least gonna be the same from the lapel to the tassels that are tieable to keep the cape on. So, oh, I also flipped this inside out. I'm not sure if I showed you that yet, but I haven't cut out the seam allowance inside yet. I need to go do that. But I should have maybe just done this, extended that into the tie, but I think I want the tie to be coming out of this way, so I think I'll do that in the seam where I connect the cape to the lapel. Okay, I'm gonna go in and cut a seam allowance out of this first. Chose my least favorite pair of scissors. They're so hard to open. And then I'm going to take the neckline piece of this, pin it here, and then the neckline piece of the lining as well, pin it to the other side, and it'll be a nice sandwich seam so that way the collar is always lined. It looks so sick. Oh, it looks so good. It looks so good. I'm so excited about it. I want to see if this is just tacked onto this and if I could just take it off. Or if it's sewn in, like woven into it. It's just sewn on. Yes, thank goodness. Because I don't want this. This is what makes it able to tie around. But I want to take this off so that when it's the tie tassels, it doesn't have that weird flap on it. That's awesome. Yeah. Amazing. We're gonna set that aside for today. Have him try it on, make sure the length is good and looks good with the rest of the outfit before we finish it. It's so funny that Abraham Lincoln is just in here. It's so funny. The update is I tried the cape on my husband. It's the perfect length for him. It'll be long, but it'll hit him around like lower calf, which will be great. Fits well around the shoulders. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish at the edges and then also attach our cording that comes across that he can tie the cape with. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that, and then we're gonna close up all the edges. We'll close up sides first and then probably close up the bottom either by hand or do the majority of it with machine and then probably the last bit by hand is what I would assume. So what I'm gonna do to turn this side under, I'm gonna cut this lining back so that it's just a little bit shorter than my leather piece. So that way when I go on the inside and sew them wrong sides together, this one will pull a little bit to the inside. So that way the finish ends up with the leather being a little bit longer than the lining piece, which will give it a really nice finished look. Next I'm gonna do my understitch, so the seam that I just put together right here, I'm now going to stitch my seam allowance towards my lining side. That's gonna help keep my lining side crisp, and once I press it, it'll help so that the lining doesn't poke outside of the cape. I don't actually know if I can press this, but I might try it. I am going to use a press cloth on it though, because I'm kind of afraid that it's a pleather, so I'm afraid it's going to transfer like a plasticky, I'm afraid it's going to melt on my iron, really. So I'll put a press cloth on, see how it goes. Pressing went very well, and I'm glad that we could do it because it looks a lot cleaner. Like it just looks so nice now. So I'm just gonna close up this hole and then we're gonna be done with our cape.